Okay, welcome to another Orbiter 2010 video, and this video is going to be another installment in my Earth to Phobos video series that I'm putting together. And I had to kind of revise the flight plan a bit when I realized that in my zeal to attempt to do absolute perfect planning and go to Mars with just barely enough fuel to make the trip, it dawned on me part of the way into the mission that I wouldn't have enough fuel to actually rendezvous with Phobos once I got there. So the revised version of the flight is that I'm going to do a flyby of Phobos on my way into Mars and not actually stop at Phobos, but rather just do a flyby and then do a aero capture / aero braking maneuver at Mars and land at Olympus. Now in the last video, which you would have to be insane if you sat and watched the whole thing because it was so incredibly boring, I sat there the whole time fiddling with Transx to try to figure out a second mid-course correction to get the timing worked out so that I could have a close approach to Phobos and still hit the atmosphere. It took me 20 minutes to get nowhere in that video, and then literally, I would say less than 120 seconds after I stopped the video, I figured out what I needed to figure out, which we have here in Transx. Sometimes it's just easier to think when I don't have sort of the pressure of trying to commentate along. So anyway, you can see here that we now have a closest approach to Phobos of less than 100 kilometers. And this will slide in and out a bit as we get closer, but we're only like 20 days away. And we have a minimum altitude of about 10 kilometers, which is very good for aero capture. So let's commit to this burn and then continue on with the flight. So before we do anything, let's view over to this thing here. What's it called? Target.
Rotation.
And let's carefully rotate. Very easy to do since the X is here. We just need to rotate a bit to the left and bring the X up. So Control 1 and time warp. About right there. And Control 2. No, 8. Sorry. Okay, X is centered in that direction. Now let's a little bit this way, and we are centered. Let's see if we can get a little bit better than that. There we go. All right, now again, we'll use burn time calculator to do that burn because it's most efficient using the full power of the main engine. So DV 26.06, but before we commit, let's VW over to maneuver and update and reset the date to make it right now. Now VW to target and quickly look at Transx over here. Yeah, again, very low minimum altitude and the closest approach that is definitely going to work. So now let's bring up BTC and do the burn. Okay, bring up Transx here and VW over to maneuver. Turn maneuver mode off and see how we did. That looks even better. So we have a closest approach showing here of 20 kilometers and a minimum altitude of 8.2. So let's carefully time warp forward. Actually, let me Control S to save here. I like to save kind of after I complete mid-course corrections. Also, let's F8 over here and bring up BTC. Put in our new total delta V, which is 22.8. Put in our RCS rather, so we have 110 meters per second remaining. It's a close one. If we dump the habitat module, we'll gain probably 200 or 300 meters a second, I would imagine. Actually, we can calculate it. So for fun, let's calculate it just to see. All right, this is the same, and our main fuel mass is now 72.6, so we're going to do an override. Our RCS mass is now 22.8. Our APU mass probably isn't changed at all because it's 267.2. Our LOX mass has changed. It's now... Actually, something else we can do to gain some DV is we can dump the half LOX container if necessary. So we still have all that LOX, plus we have some in the container. So that's actually a bit of a problem for this spreadsheet. Crew mass hasn't changed. LOX payload tank mass hasn't changed. LOX, okay, I do have that in here, good. LOX payload mass has definitely changed. It's now 1270.91 minus 355.2 because that's the actually I don't know if that number includes, I guess it must include the yeah, okay, so it's just 1270.91. Actually, let's do this. But our mission duration is no longer 202 days. It's now just like 49 days. Okay. So this says we have 110 meters per second remaining. That's pretty close. Yeah, actually, right there. 110.386. So if we dump the CHM, how much will that gain us? So currently we have 110, and I'll put in an override here of 0, which means we're going to dump the CHM 20 meters per second. That's it? Are you serious? That can't be right. I would have thought that it would be far more than that. So, really, I mean, that's so we go from 110 to 130. I'll have to check that. That doesn't sound right to me. What if I do that? Well, either way, it says we go from 110 to 130. I'll have to check that and see if it's accurate. Because it seems to me like we would gain more than 20 meters a second. But if not, then then we know. Okay. So we've been gone for 168 days and 2 hours and 4 minutes. We completed that mid-course correction. I did a quick save. So let's continue forward carefully. 58411, and we're going to 58432, so we have 21 days, something like that. Okay, warping time forward, and we'll probably just go 5 or 6 days at a time. So 1-1 will go to at least like 1-5. Can see this is wobbling in and out as we go. Okay, now we're impacting Mars technically. It's wobbling in and out, but it's getting progressively worse. That's unfortunate. All right, man, I hate to do it, but we need to do another mid-course correction. Ugh. Yeah, that's 5 days. Before I do it, though, let me see if I can just do a touch of translation to fix things. rather than going through the trouble of setting up a whole maneuver. Couple of control translations there and a couple of regular translations. Okay, so let's do that. Now let's go forward another 5 days. If we can get away with that, we might be able to just do that without setting up maneuvers. So 5421 is what we're going to look for next. And since this seems to be erring this way and the altitude's erring down, then I can kind of use that information on the next correction. Okay, we'll go forward one more day, and then we're only going to be 11 days out. Okay, let's go here. So the last time, just a little bit of reverse translation helped. That's helping here too. Check my DV. But it also looks like as we go forward, we're needing more corrections, so I'm going to go this direction. I'm going to overshoot backwards. And we'll bring up the altitude because it's going down as we get closer. Okay, let's go with that, and let's go forward another 5 days. Okay, you can see the altitude's going down toward the surface, and this is getting closer to the closest approach. And actually, since that's the case, let's kind of, right now, while we're still out a ways, let's just back it off a little bit more. Going forward. Okay, we're 10 days out. Okay, the altitude's not coming down much, so let's, while we're still out this far, let's bring it in a bit. Let's check our delta V. We're at 111, so we've actually gained a little bit. Although, actually, I need to update the fuel mass. 12.7. See, I'm really burning through that RCS fast. But we've still got some main fuel we could transfer over if necessary. Alright, Transx, and let's go forward. Okay, altitude should be fine from this point forward. Okay, let's go forward closer. I gotta watch that I don't run into Phobos. So it's one thing to encounter it closely, but it's another entirely if we crash into it on the way in. Okay, so we're 8 days out. Okay, let's back up a bit. Go forward. We're only a week away. Four, 5, 6 days out. Check our RCS. Let me transfer a little bit over.
Crossfeed off.
Okay. Let's take a look outside, see if we can spot Mars. Be easier like that. Okay, it's right there behind us. So there's Mars and everything. Okay, let's continue forward. We still got about 5 days, a little more than that. Let's have this view up. It's easier to see. 27, and we got to go to 32. Let's go a little faster. Once again, a little bit of braking basically. And let me start bringing the altitude down a little bit more as well. Because if we're going to do aero capture, we want to be in pretty low. Okay, forward. Four days out. It's getting more and more expensive to do this. I should probably actually be using the retro engines at this point. So actually we're going to do a couple of things here. We're going to open the retro doors. Since we are 5 or 6 days away from Mars, we're going to dump all the additional locks so that we can increase our DV a bit. Turn that APU off, although technically burning it helps us. But let's dump our locks down to a week. And let's see what impact that has on our DV. Let me do it this way. Control F4. External MFD. Burn time calculator. Yeah, I got to correct that as well. 13.3. So we have 91 meters remaining at the moment. Let's get rid of some locks. I don't really feel like this is cheating.
Warning, locks dump.
Although technically,
Warning,
dumping locks should change your course a bit.
Warning,
hopefully it doesn't.
Dump.
Okay, we'll go with that. That really didn't help us at all. That only gained us like 3 meters a second, so it really wasn't even worth it anyway. But yeah, technically if you vent locks out into space or even fuel, it should change your course.
Rotation. Translation.
Okay, let's go forward. Carefully, carefully, carefully forward. Okay, we're at 29, so 72 hours to go. A little bit of reverse thrust. Again, we'll kind of overshoot it a bit because the closest approach is climbing out the other direction as we go forward. See what that does for us. Oh boy, do we have any fuel left at all? 88 meters a second. Yeesh. All right, onward. Okay, we are 2 days out. That freaked me out when TransX updated. And let me now view to the setup and change the scale to view to target so we can actually see things. All right, now before we go forward anymore, let me think about actually the best time to do these little corrections that I'm doing. Actually, I don't think it matters.
Rotation, translation.
Okay. Go forward. 2 days to go. 1 day to go.
Rotation, translation.
Just checking, kind of eyeballing it to see. Oh, there we go, view encounter. Trying to see if my hypothetical line had me going into the atmosphere or not. Ugh. Feel like I have no fuel left. 77 meters a second. All right. 24 hours to go until we encounter Phobos. Or is that Mars? Darn TransX, man, it's so freaking inaccurate. Look at that number, just constantly. Ugh, so aggravating. Okay, we'll go around again. So we are about a half day away. I'll just go to 1,000. I was almost going to do 10,000, but I'll screw it completely up here in the last second if I do that. So the goal here in the last part of this video, we're going to do the encounter with Phobos. Then we will call it a part. Looks like we're going to have to go around one more time. $58432 and some change, and we're almost there. So let's take a quick look outside just to see. Oh, there. Hey, there's Mars. What do you know? So are we within its SOI? Yeah, and we're within its strong SOI at this point. So let's copy that data to the HUD. And now let's bring TransX. I guess we don't really need TransX on both sides, do we? Okay, let's warp time forward. And as Phobos comes around over here, we should be coming up to our closest approach. So one final adjustment.
Rotation, translation.
Have to bring that minimum altitude down.
Rotation,
go outside, and we should see Phobos around here somewhere. There's Deimos. Oh, there's Phobos over there. So it should be coming around and catching up to us. And our encounter velocity apparently is going to be like 4K, so we're not going to... Whatever. Okay.
Translation.
Bringing the minimum altitude down. That's actually not helping the closest approach at the moment. Make sure that I'm low enough to get captured. And that's definitely low enough. And
Rotation. Translation.
okay, let's warp time forward carefully, and okay, that's pretty close. We should be reasonably close to Phobos now. Let's reference Phobos, actually. Copy that information to the HUD, and
Rotation.
rotate around so we can see it. Let's retrograde. Okay, there's Phobos in front of us. So, is it really going to get within 171 kilometers of us? I mean, it seems like we're awfully close to Mars. Well, I guess it is. That's very cool. Alright, I gotta play this out at like 10x or something, because I mean, all this effort just so that we can see Phobos.
Translation.
That's fine.
Rotation. Translation.
Rotation.
Rotation.
And I'm going to power that site off for now. Actually, no, let's reference Mars and copy that information to the HUD. Turn the HUD off for now. Kill rotate. We are 2,000 seconds away from periapsis. And right now we're playing it out at full time, or real time, and I can actually see things moving. That is so cool. Let's power that site off. This is only 10x. So there we have it. We have a nice close flyby of Phobos on the way in.
Translation. Rotation.
I hope you enjoy this site as much as I do. Power that site off. This is all real time. I mean, that's moving quite rapidly. You know, you think about, generally you look at anything in orbiter in real time and you can't see anything change unless you're at 10, at least 10. Usually you don't even see things change unless you're at 100 or 1,000 in some cases. But here, you know, Phobos moves pretty quickly around Mars, and we're moving 4,000 meters per second relative to Phobos.
Translation. Rotation.
Put in a little bit of rotation. Actually, one thing I can do, I can bring up Phobos so we can see when we actually reach closest approach, which is going to be in just 7 seconds. So right now we are as close as we're going to get, and it's now getting farther away with each passing second. So that is our flyby of Phobos on our way into Mars. All things considered, I'm pretty happy with the way this flight worked out. It's a little unfortunate that I didn't remember that if I was going to rendezvous with Phobos, then I would also need some additional fuel to make that happen. But still pretty cool if you ask me. Okay, goodbye Phobos. It was a real pleasure to see you. Now, let's get our thinking set up for... Actually, let me Control S here to save. I should have saved it before the closest approach. Oh well. No, but now let's transition our thinking into landing, because we are going to be doing that here shortly. Of course, I'm going to end this part of the video here now that we are up to 30 minutes. But we're 1,800 seconds away from our closest approach to the Martian surface, where we'll do the aero braking maneuver. And let's see, what is our velocity going to be at that point? Let's bring up Transx, and we can now view over to setup, and we can get rid of Phobos because it's no longer part of our plan. So we view the encounter to Mars, and our capture delta is 910, pretty close to what we calculated it to be, which I think was like 888. And our PE velocity is 5,000, about 6,000 meters per second. Okay, if you like this part of the video, and I sure hope you did, hit the like button down below, but more importantly, leave a comment. And if you didn't like it, hit the don't like button. Subscribe to the channel if you like all this orbiter stuff and you want to be notified when I upload new videos. The best way to do that is to subscribe. I also have a Facebook fan page. You can like that Facebook fan page if you're on Facebook, and if you're not, I certainly understand why not. But if you like my Facebook fan page, you'll get to see the videos that I post, other pictures and articles, other videos that are from other people that I don't post their videos on my YouTube channel, but I can post a link to their video on my Facebook page. So that's another way that you can see more of this
Translation. Rotation.
more of this space stuff. And I will see you in the next video.